Yo, salute to everybody already here in the building. You guys know what time it is. Welcome to the latest installment of Coffee and Convo. I am your host, Graphk Raiders. Salute to the greatest chat in YouTube history. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. I see Green Dot Gang is heavy in the building. We got a few Mob Fathers already here. Salute to you guys. This live is not going to be that long. We have a members only live. Following this immediately, this may be a 30, 45-minute show tops. But if you guys want to jump over to the members only, become a member like James Powers, like Bob Rutherford, I Am Punchy, James Bowe, make sure to hit the link. It's pinned up top. Let's get as many people in there in the building as possible. I want to start doing more members only shows. Start doing a few. If this is a hit, we'll start doing a few a week and we'll keep it rolling. But other than that, man, a few things to talk about today. I wanted to talk about Tyree Wilson and his progress going into year 3. I wanted to talk about a surprise defensive tackle that we spoke on yesterday that looks like they're getting some team one snaps right now. You know what I mean? Kind of interesting. We're also going to go over a few other things. Training camp. There's some dates out there now, you guys. That's where we're going to start the show. But real quick, I'm going to let everybody pile in. Salute once again. Make sure you guys wipe them feet. That means hit those thumbs up around here and also hit that subscribe button. If you guys are not subscribed yet, salute to my guy Tyler on becoming a member. I see you, my brother. I know you are usually over there on Twitter. Appreciate you, man. If you want to become a member, like my guy, welcome to Green Dot Gang. Hit the link. It's pinned up top. Rick, what's good with you, brother? It's good to see my guy. Eddie, I believe you are a member, brother. I believe you are a member, so you'll be fine. You will be fine. Let me see. Someone's got to be the big man when Christian's hurt. This is facts. This is facts. I still believe it's going to be more of a rotational thing out there, the defensive tackle position, outside of Adam Butler. You know what I mean? I don't think that this is going to be necessarily, the guy that we're going to talk about here shortly, his job for the foreseeable future. Once again, we really have no timeline or nothing in regards to an upgrade. An update on Christian Wilkins' injury. So we know that Jones fracture takes time. It's going to, this is going to be well on in the training camp. Honestly, I would be shocked if Christian Wilkins joined this team during training camp. I think it's going to take a little bit longer than that, but we shall see. Let me see. Salute to CGR in the building, man. Y'all make the greatest chat on YouTube possible. So thank you all, man. Appreciate you, my brother. Yes, yes. Bourbon Raider, man. I have a ton of them. Honestly, I'm not a cigar snob. I can smoke the cheapest of cigars. I can smoke Cubans, you know what I mean? But it's probably a nice Cuban. You know what I mean? I've had my share of those. Nothing like them. Nothing like them with a nice glass of scotch or Woodson whiskey, woodsonwhiskey.com. Probably one of my favorites. Nice little, Cuban joint. Salute to my guy. Salute to Austin Collins as well. Salute to Daniel. Tyree should have a nice bump. His issue has always been mental. Hurt him bad to miss that rookie camp / offseason. And this is facts. And we'll start there here in a second, Daniel. Salute to you. Can Tyree be a full-time starter on the inside? I don't believe so, Eddie. I mean, he was drafted to be a defensive end at Texas Tech. That's where he played predominantly as an edge rusher. They've been working on his footwork all off season. Once again, this is the first training camp in a long time that he's actually really healthy. Year 1, we know what was going on. Year 2, it was going to take some time and for him to adjust to the speed of the game and get fully healthy, right? And then now we're in year 3 where this is usually where these guys kind of hit that corner in terms of getting accustomed to the NFL game. So I don't think that he will be a full-time starter on the inside at all. I would like to see him rotated inside and out, some nice NASCAR packages, put Tyree in the interior of the defensive line, but you don't want him to be a defensive tackle full-time. You need him on the outside. Once again, Max is coming off of a nasty injury. Malcolm is coming off of a nasty injury. You need Tyree to be able to be that rotational piece that you can add on the outside that can help this pass rush. You know what I mean? Because outside of that, I'm very worried, you guys. I've mentioned this a million times. Love Ja Joyner. Don't know where he's going to be in the grand scheme of things. Not a big, well, let me say this. Charles Snowden earned his spot last year. But I'm just saying moving forward, I'm not that big of a fan with Charles Snowden of him having an impact on that defensive line. I think we can use another defensive line a lineman addition in free agency. We need another edge rusher. And I've spoken on that a ton, you guys. Once again, the Von Millers of the world, the Jadeveon Clowneys, there's Carl Lawsons of the world. Those guys are still available. They have no jobs right now. They're looking. The Raiders should be looking here soon. But if not, they're putting a lot in Max's basket, Malcolm's, Tyree's, Charles Snowden, and potentially a Ja Joyner, who's a UDFA out of Minnesota that has to prove his worth during training camp. But we shall see. We shall see, man. Graphk, if Wilkins is out the first couple of weeks, who do you have in his place? I mean, right now, it's looking like, Ryan, the guy that's getting the actual first-team reps is, and I'm always butchering his name, is Leki Fotu, or Fotu. I think it's Leki Fotu, the 6'5", 335-pound Oakland native from the Bay Area. You know what I'm saying? So once again, he's very familiar with what the Raiders do. This is a guy that only played in 2 games last season, you guys, dealt with some injuries. Hasn't been very productive since he's come into the league. I believe he's a Utah product, came into the league 2020, in that weird COVID stage. He's played defensive tackle for the Arizona Cardinals, for the Jets, where he only played in 2 games, played some nose tackle as well. But in year 1, he played in 11 games, 0 starts. Year 2, 17 games, 3 starts. 2022 with Arizona, played in 17 games, only had 9. Started in 9 games. And then in 2023 with the Arizona Cardinals, he played in 11 games and started in 9. So he's had some starting, he started a few ball games in his young career, but this is kind of worrisome, thinking that you're putting a guy out there that, honestly, you look at his stat sheet, he has 3.5 sacks since 2020, since coming into the league. Okay. 92 combined tackles since coming into the league, 43 solo, 49 assists, 12 tackles for a loss. He has 7 QB hits. This is a massive human being, you guys. This is a guy that I definitely love as a depth piece. But if he has to start for us opposite of Adam Butler, Malcolm Kuntz, and Max Crosby, this is kind of worrisome for me. I'm a little nervous thinking that this guy may have to be the guy to go out there and start for us early on. Not to say that he will, but there were reports, tons of them, that, out of training camp, well, not training camp, OTAs and mandatory minicamp, that he was out there with the first team. So we shall see what this guy, will provide for us in training camp. Hopefully sometime soon we'll get an update with Christian Wilkins. Maybe, JJ or Tonka can go into training camp and carve out a role immediately and take one of those starting defensive tackle spots. We shall see. But it looks like right now, Adam Butler opposite of Malcolm Kuntz, and probably Leki Fotu, the 6'5", 335-pound Bay Area native, right next to Malcolm Kuntz. Right next to Max Crosby. We shall see. But kind of worrisome here, you guys. A little worried right now, thinking that this guy may be the starter for us, because when we brought him in, I don't know if you guys remember, I did a video where I said this was a depth piece. This is a guy that can just add some rotational value on your defensive line. So a little worried about it, but we shall see. We shall see. Once again, it's still very early. And we're going to talk about this here as well. We have plenty of time, you guys. We have over a month to get everything together before training camp comes around. And I'm going to share this real quick for those who did not get an opportunity to see it yesterday. It dropped right when we got done doing our live, shocker, right? But this is our off-season programs right here, you guys, moving forward. So let me take this off the screen real quick. Salute to Ryan. As always, appreciate you, brother. So July 17th, rookies report to Raiders training camp out at Henderson. July 22nd, veterans report to Raiders training camp, Henderson, Nevada. July 31st, Hall of Fame game, Canton, Ohio, Chargers, Detroit Lions. So think about it like this, you guys. The 17th is where we start really getting things rolling with the rookie class out there, and with the pads on, and we get this ball rolling, man. August 2nd, Hall of Fame game, 2025, enshrinement in Canton, Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, Sterling Sharp. August 7th, Raiders' first preseason game at Seattle. This is where Pete Carroll gets to reunite with his former organization, the Seattle Seahawks. I don't find this a coincidence that our first game is on the road in Seattle. Makes sense for, the national narrative with Pete Carroll returning to Seattle. August 14th. So this is what we were waiting for. The Raiders-Niners joint practice. So we get a chance to, have a joint practice with our former Bay Area rivals, the Santa Clara 49ers. That is August 14th, and then August 16th is our second preseason game versus the San Francisco 49ers at home at Allegiant Stadium. August 23rd, Raiders' final preseason game at Arizona. So we're still close, a few hours away out there in Glendale, Arizona. And then we finish up here with August 26th. Prior to 1 p.m. Pacific time, teams must reduce the active rosters to maximum of 53 players. August 27th, practice squads can be established with a maximum of 16 players, 17 players, if one player qualifies as an international player. And then we don't need to go through this. This is our schedule moving forward, but this is what we were talking about right here. Training camp for all 32 teams was recently announced by the league. This was yesterday, you guys. July 17th is the date to watch. We get a chance to see Genty, Besh, Dante Thornton, our 2 offensive linemen, our 2 defensive tackles, Cam Miller, Lindenberg, Tommy Touchdown. All those guys will report July 17th. So then we get a better chance to see where these guys fit in the grand scheme of things with the pads on, with the, with some physicality, with some, bro, we've been waiting. Physicality, contact. That is the part of the game that, us football people love, right? So once again, you can only take this OTAs and mandatory minicamp with a grain of salt. This is where men are made when those shoulder pads come off. So those are the dates to keep an eye on, you guys. So stay tuned, and we will talk about that more moving forward. Salute to the chat. Salute to my guy, J-Ro. I'm not worried about Fotu starting. With our coaching and Pete's history with the Ooses, he'll be just fine. Talk that talk, my brother J-Ro. Look, man, once again, this is a guy that's missed a ton of football. Only played in 2 games last year, J-Ro. So, I think you can understand, why I have a little anxiety with this. But once again, it's still very, very early. Okay, very early. Once again, JJ is a rookie. Tonka is a rookie. I don't think they're going to force feed them out there to get first team reps. Fotu is a veteran. He's been in the league since 2020. Christian Wilkins with the Jones fracture. It's going to take some time for him to come back. So it's still early. Now, if this is what the situation is in training camp, as we get closer to our preseason game, week 1 against Seattle, in Seattle, then we may be kind of like, whoa, what the hell is going on? But stay tuned. Once again, you are right, J-Ro. Pete has definitely had his history with the Ooses, and his coaching expertise is definitely going to help unlock a lot of these guys' full potential. So salute to my guy, J-Ro. Salute to Ant. He says, stop yelling at us. No! How about that, man? How about that? But once again, July 17th, rookies report. July 22nd, veterans report. And then we'll get this thing rolling with everybody out there late July. So stay tuned for that. It's crazy. The veterans report the day of my twin boy's birthday. So I don't know how much I'm going to be able to cover that day, but we shall see. But salute. Wipe them feet, y'all. Hit them thumbs up. If you guys are not subscribed yet, what are you guys waiting on? And once again, we will have a members only show here in about 20, 30 minutes. We're not going to be doing this live for too long. Stay tuned. If you guys want to join, it's going to be a 30-minute Q&A. You guys can ask whatever you guys want. We can talk about whatever you guys want. It is behind a paywall, you guys. So if you guys want to become members, hit the link. It's pinned up top, and we'll definitely have some fun over there at the members only show. CGR, this is facts. Facts plus tax. Let me ask you guys real quick in the comment section, how do you feel about hearing Lecky Fotu getting first team reps out there early on at OTAs and mandatory minicamp? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Is this a situation where you're going to monitor moving forward? Do you think that he can potentially steal one of those spots? Do you think, if Christian Wilkins is not ready to go come training camp, that JJ or Tonka can steal one of those spots? How do you feel about that last spot on that defensive line, not named Adam Butler, Malcolm Kuntz, and Max Crosby? Let me know in the comment section. Josh says that's only good news to hear. Okay. Raiders guy says, hell yeah, the Oos got it. Okay. My brother Raiders guy, Sacramento native. I know you're very familiar with his game, being from the Bay Area. So I love it. Salute to my guy Gio in the building as well. I don't mind it. Let's see what Fotu got to offer. Okay. It's a big dude, man. That's a big dude, y'all. He definitely can be a monster on that defensive line. And I don't think that he's ever got an opportunity to play on the defensive line opposite of the likes of a Malcolm Kuntz and Max Crosby. And don't get me wrong, he did play with a great Jets defense last year. Well, they kind of came back down to reality last season, but he only played in 2 games out there, and he started in 1. Then previously before that, he played with the Arizona Cardinals, where they didn't have a ton of talent next to him out there in Arizona. So this is probably going to be the best defensive line that he's played with up to this point in his young career. So we shall see. Oos is a big man. Good thing he's getting starter reps. Let Wilkes heal. Don't want to rush his injury. This is facts. This is facts. And once again, man, 6'5", 335. A guy that can play, play nose tackle as well for you. You know what I mean? And give you a ton of help in the run game. So, I'm interested to see what this thing looks like moving forward. It looks like he's healthy. So maybe he can provide a ton for us on that defensive line. We shall see. Only time will tell. Salute to 2-4. With these members only is like us sitting at the grown-up table and Anthony at the kiddie table. Anthony, boo you. Just got the notification. This is facts. This is facts. Somebody block Ant. Get him out of here, man. Get him out of here, man. No, we're not wasted over here. We're not going to do that to our guy. Gray Dot Gang is in the building. Salute to Ant. Carroll is only going to put the best guy in there. If he's the best, then that's what we want. Can't be mad at it. Not mad at you, brother. Not mad at you at all. Yes, another guy that we keep forgetting is Jonah Lalu. Was also balling last year. This is a guy that can definitely add some more value there on the defensive line, on the interior of that defensive line. This is facts. Salute to my guy, Loso. Talked about that. Also, wanted to talk about this article that was on yahoosports.com. Let me bring this up. Stop this, present this, share. Boom. Hold on. Where is it? Bing. Bam. And that's what's up, bro. That's what's up. I'm going to block you on both of them. But salute to Clutch Sports. Salute to Yahoo Sports as well. Real quick, 2 Raiders in danger of getting cut after the 2025 minicamp. So we've seen all the reports, you guys, about Zamir White, right? 3rd-year guy, had a down season last year, didn't really fit with what Luke Getsy was trying to do in terms of the scheme with the run game. I think that with Chip Kelly in the building and Brennan Carroll, it's going to look totally different. I think they'll play to his strengths. But either way, he definitely had a down season last year. I mean, you can just look at what he did statistically, and it wasn't great at all. And it looks as though he may start here number 4 on the depth chart behind Aston Genty, Raheem Mostert, and Sincere McCormick. So salute to Hondo. They did take this from one of his articles that he put out there on Sports Illustrated. They said that 3rd and 4th are in a battle. Let us start with Zamir White. Zeus comes in, was a massively productive running back at Georgia, and the Raiders got him and were thrilled to get him after Antonio Pierce took over. You saw Zeus explode. He definitely had a nice stretch of football there with Antonio Pierce once we moved on from Josh Jacobs. Well, let me say this. When Josh Jacobs got hurt, it looked as though Zeus may be able to show something and may be able to provide, that comfort level for us to move on from Josh Jacobs, which we did the following year, where he eventually went to sign with the Green Bay Packers. We all, I must not say we all, but a lot of us had high expectations for Zeus last season. It didn't work, but nobody can really get the ground game going last year, you guys. Alexander Madison struggled. Zamir struggled. It took until late in the season for us to have our first 100-yard game, and that came from a 30-plus-year-old running back that has been pretty much a journeyman up to this point, who's a free agent right now. You know what I mean? So it's kind of frustrating. We did get a nice stretch of football from Sincere McCormick as well before he went down with that injury, which it sounds like he's having a really, really good mandatory minicamp and OTAs as well. Hondo did say that he was out there running like a madman. We'll go over that here in a second as well. But once again, in 2024, White carried the football 65 times for 183 yards, averaged 2.8 a clip. That is not going to get it done at all. But I wanted to ask you guys' opinion here, because once again, hearing, and we'll go over the words that Hondo mentioned with Sincere McCormick, but what is your thought process right now with the third guy in this group? We've talked about it before, but, Ashton is clear-cut the number one guy. Raheem Mostert at this point is clear-cut the number two guy. The Thunder and Lightning, comment by Pete Carroll, that's definitely the veteran in Raheem Mostert and the rookie with Ashton Genty. Hearing that Sincere McCormick is out there running like a madman, I think that him and Zamir are definitely fighting for that third spot. And then, once again, maybe they value Dylan over whoever loses that third spot because of the special teams ability. Zamir's not going to offer you any special teams reps. Dylan is a more versatile weapon that can return kicks, go out there in special teams and provide, some reps, and then also a third down running back that can add some value in the passing game as well. This is the thing. Zamir lost some weight. It looks as though he's in really good shape right now. Once again, I heard from many people out there that Zamir looks really good, but I'm also hearing things outside of Hondo, that's Sincere McCormick. And I'm going to reach out to him and get him on the show very soon as well again, you guys. So stay tuned. For those who didn't get an opportunity, go back to the channel, check out the interview that I had with Sincere McCormick. You wouldn't want to miss it. I'm going to definitely reach out to my guy and get him on the show here very soon once again. But hearing good things about him, I think Hondo used the words running really violent, he's running like a madman out there. He's healthy. So I want you guys' opinion on this. We all know that Zamir struggled last season. We all know that Sincere came in, at the end of the season and provided us kind of a spark in the ground game, even though we were still the last team in rushing in football. But Sincere kind of provided like a somewhat of a oh man, maybe this isn't that bad. Maybe it isn't that bad. Maybe we do have a true running back on this roster. Maybe it's not just the offensive line. Maybe it is a little bit more of Zamir White and Alexander Madison and all these other guys that were in front of Sincere McCormick on the depth chart there at the running back position. But I want you guys' opinion here. Who would you prefer to have as the running back 3 right now behind Raheem Mostert and Ashton Genty, the Thunder and Lightning? Would it be a Sincere McCormick, who is still really young? Zamir White, who's still really young. This is only year 3. Year 4, I believe, coming out of Georgia, our former 4th round pick. And I didn't really think a lot about the pickup with Zamir White when Josh, McDaniels and Ziegler went and got him in the 4th round. We still had Josh Jacobs under contract. He was our workhorse guy. I loved the him pick there in the 3rd round out of Memphis, but I was a little confused by taking Zamir there in the 4th round in that draft. I thought maybe Josh McDaniels thought he wanted to have more of a committee. It didn't really work out. Josh Jacobs was still that workhorse guy. But what does it look like right now? What does that running back room look like to you right now? How many guys do you keep on the roster? And in order, what does that depth chart look like? Would I like Zamir to make this roster? I definitely would. I've said this publicly multiple times. I have Ashton Genty is number 1. Raheem Mostert is number 2. Sincere is number 3. And I got Dylan edging Zamir White out for that 4th spot because of his special teams ability. But what do you guys have in the comment section? Let me know. And once again, I wanted to go over this because we talked about this yesterday. Somebody brought it up about Aiden O'Connell, and I told you guys he was going to make this roster and so on and so forth. Well, I kind of gave my take on it yesterday, and I wanted to talk about this because I found this interesting. Raiders QB Aiden O'Connell is fighting for his spot? ? Yes. Who the hell wouldn't think that Aiden O'Connell is not fighting for his spot right now? I mean, why not? You think it's a for sure thing that Aiden O'Connell is going to make this roster? No. This is a new regime. And let me read a couple of these, of these snippets from this article here, because it sounds like the Raiders were out there sniffing around during the draft to see if there was any trade interest. And this was according to NewYorkTimes.com, to come get Aiden O'Connell with some type of trade package during the draft or before the draft. The Raiders drafted Cam Miller in round 6, and it looks like Miller might be putting the heat on O'Connell. Okay, so once again, this is for all of the people out there that saying that Aiden O'Connell has a sure roster spot on this team. He definitely does not. He was drafted from a previous regime, There's no way in hell you can say that his job is safe after these guys went out there and drafted a quarterback in round 6 in Cam Miller. The Raiders traded for and gave a contract extension to veteran quarterback Geno Smith, which seemingly gives a couple years to groom a young successor. This is when Vic Tafur, salute to him, was covering our Raiders. He's now covering the 49ers out there in the Bay Area. The Raiders' new brass doesn't seem that high on incumbent Aiden O'Connell, and many expect them to try and trade him for a pick on day 3 of the draft. This was before that. Now, will Cam Miller earn the number 2 spot? If Miller makes the Raiders believe he's an NFL quality backup, O'Connell would be in trouble. O'Connell doesn't seem likely to get many snaps. And I'm not going to read this excerpt right here by Hondo because honestly, it doesn't really matter. Geno's the guy. So it doesn't matter Aiden's going to play or this, and that. It doesn't matter. Geno was the guy. But Miller's strengths revolve around him getting the ball out quickly. I think Chip Kelly definitely is going to prioritize that. According to ESPN.com, he can get the ball out quickly and make plays with defenders in his face. Steve Munch, I believe, said, and he extends plays and makes off-platform throws. He doesn't have a great top-end speed, but he's quick enough to scramble for some first downs. So once again, you guys, for those who are saying that Aiden O'Connell demotes, is going to be QB2 or potentially QB1. I've seen a ton of people say that he could potentially go out there and beat Geno Smith. I mean, even Hondo in the article mentioned that Geno's going to be fighting for the quarterback 1 spot, and that's not true at all. I look, unless there's an injury that occurs, God forbid, at training camp, there's no way in hell that Aiden O'Connell is fighting for the quarterback 1 spot. You just paid Geno quarterback 1 money. You just sent a premium 3rd-round draft pick to Seattle to get Pete Carroll, his guy, for them to reunite in Las Vegas. Nobody is fighting for the number 1 spot outside of Geno Smith. Anyone that tells you otherwise is cap. It is cap. There's nobody out there fighting for the quarterback 1 spot. I don't give a shit how good Aiden O'Connell can go out there at training camp and take just everything by storm. This is Geno's job. Aiden is going to go out there and fight for that quarterback 2 spot and hopefully, try to find himself on this roster. He is fighting for a roster spot. He is not fighting for Geno's spot. He's not fighting to be the quarterback 1. I don't know why people tend to put this kind of shit out there. I know it's the off season, and I understand, that, once again, people need clicks and this and that. But to fix your mouth to say that Aiden O'Connell is fighting, for that spot is nasty, nasty work. No, he's not. He is fighting to make this roster. He's fighting to make this roster. Nobody is fighting for the quarterback 1 spot, period. It's Geno Smith's job. Simple and plain. So I wanted to talk about that as well. Salute to Yahoo Sports, and salute to Clutch over there as well. Salute to my guy, Jason Hunter. Blessings, Graphk. In my opinion, Miller may be the next one up. He can run that Chip Kelly offense to a T. OakLosVegas for life. Raider Nation for life. Talk that talk, my brother. This is facts. And once again, I've told you guys a million times that I'm not the biggest Cam Miller fan. Is he a winner? Yes. That's all he did. That's all he did at the collegiate level. I got a chance to watch him at the Shrine Bowl. I wasn't that impressed, but once again, it was just a week of practice with guys that never really played with each other. So there's no chemistry there amongst those guys. So I can't be upset about Cam Miller's performance there at the Shrine Bowl week. But like I said, I just wasn't that impressed. But Chip Kelly, Tom Brady, Spytech and company definitely see otherwise. So I'm excited to see what they think Cam Miller can do moving forward. But once again, this regime drafted him. This regime did not draft Aiden O'Connell. I think that they're going to give Cam every chance in the world to fight for that quarterback 2 spot. And once again, Aiden may not find himself on this roster. Am I saying that it's a foregone conclusion that Aiden's not going to be a Raider? Definitely not. Right now, if Geno went down, God forbid, I would trust Aiden O'Connell over Cam Miller because he's a rookie. He hasn't played at the next level yet. Aiden has won some games, lost some games, but he has some starter reps at the NFL level. I want Aiden O'Connell to make this roster, but what I'm saying is it's just not a foregone conclusion that he is going to find himself a roster spot on this team with the addition of Cam Miller. Simple and plain. And we don't know what this regime thinks of Carter Bradley, our former UDFA out of South Alabama. So we don't know. We do not know. Desert Raider, we can see that, right? Maybe potentially there is a trade to New England for a reunion, with Josh McDaniels, maybe, he was the guy that went out and drafted him. We shall see. Who do you think will be the kick returner, punt returner? Tommy Mellott, Dylan, Trey? It's going to be interesting. To be honest, I really, truly don't know right now. I haven't really heard a lot about Tommy Mellott up to this point. I know they want to use him as like a Swiss Army knife, a guy that can come in and potentially give you some reps, at the wide receiver position, a guy that could potentially line up for you in the backfield in certain looks, wildcat formation. He was a quarterback at the collegiate level. He's making the transformation to the wide receiver position, and he can definitely add some special teams value. But I don't know. That's one of the competitions that I'm most looking forward to come training camp, Tim, is to watch Tucker, watch Dylan, watch Tommy Mellott go out there and fight for one of those spots. Trey is going to I think right now he's a starter. I'm kind of, switching my tone a little bit. It looks as though Dante Thornton might be able to steal one of those starting spots opposite of Trey Tucker. And then you got, Jacoby there in the slot, and then they'll work, Jack Besh in, and they'll have him playing all over the place on the boundary, in the slot, so on and so forth. But I don't know if they want to have one of their starting wide receivers out there returning kicks. I think it would probably be between Tommy Mellott and Dylan. And I think that Dylan has the edge right now, once again, because he's coming into year 2. It's a sophomore year. He had a nice return last year. I believe it was like 40, 50 yards or something like that. I know they've probably watched all the tape. It'd be great to see him potentially go out there and get some reps out there returning kicks. But we shall see. And look, they may have Trey Tucker out there. They may have Dante Thornton, our speedster, out there returning kicks as well. Who's to say? But I think that if you believe that these guys are going to be play pivotal roles in your future, I don't think that they want to have them go out there and get hurt. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be between Tommy Mellott, Dylan Lowby, and we'll see. Let the best man win. Raiders USC, this is facts. Let's create some more members. This is facts. We got a show here in a few minutes, you guys. So stay tuned. If you guys want to become members, make sure to hit that link. It's pinned up top. Members only show, you guys. Come in, ask whatever you want. Let's have some fun. Salute to my guy USC, man. Gifting 5 OLV Raiders Network memberships. My brother. Salute to my guy Raiders USC. Salute to all the new members in the building. I hope to see you there in about 10, 15 minutes. So stay tuned for that. It's good to see my brother Ty in the building. It's good to see my brother Indiana Raider in the building. All my guys. Salute to you guys as always. But that was a great question, Tim. I like that. I do believe it's probably going to be between Tommy Mellott and Dylan Lowby. And like I said before, let the best man win. We went over the training camp for those who are just joining the show. July 17th, rookies report to training camp in Henderson. July 22nd, the veterans report. So, they're late July. Everybody will be reporting to the headquarters at Henderson, and training camp will be underway. So stay tuned for that. We about a month, a little bit over a month away from training camp. A month away from training camp out there in Henderson. Also, I wanted to bring this up as well, guys. For those who are potentially, going to make their way out to Las Vegas for the yearly softball event, I wanted to mention this real quick, 2 seconds. July 12th, 8 p.m., Las Vegas Ballpark, downtown Summerlin. They have the annual Golden Knights Raiders softball game. So everybody, man, if you're local, I'm thinking about actually catching a flight and going out there and getting some interviews and doing some things for the community. But it looks as though the charity event will be July 12th, 8 p.m., downtown Summerlin. I think that Brock Bowers is the captain for the Raiders. I don't know the names of the Golden Knights. I'm not going to go over it, but the roster under Brock Bowers, currently Jack Besh, this is according to Yahoo Sports, AJ Cole, Daniel Carlson, Thayer Munford Jr., Eric Stokes, Aiden O'Connell, Jeremy Chin, Sincere McCormick, and former Raiders tight end Darren Waller. So if you guys are local and you want to come through and support a great cause, this definitely helps Las Vegas Life, Make-A-Wish, Nevada, Best Buddies, and Assisting Lives in Las Vegas. Is for a great cause. This event launched in 2019, according to Yahoo Sports, and since then has raised over $1 million through nonprofits. So if you guys are local or near Vegas and want to join, pull up, Let's have some fun. I'm thinking about booking me a flight and going out there and kicking it as well. Salute to my guy, Ty, man, my brother. Appreciate you, my guy, man. As always, my brother. Get those memberships up, man. Facts. We're going to get out of here in a few minutes, but salute to Ty and salute to all the new members in the building because of my brother, Ty. And also, during the members only show, you guys, I created, this is not to say you guys have to do it at all, but I created a goal in the members only show. You guys will check it out when you get there. And if we can reach that goal, we'll do a second members only show. And once again, this is your guys' show. We can kick it. We can do whatever you guys want to do. We can talk about music, life, mental health, the Raiders, collegiate football, whatever you guys want to talk about. Members only is your guys' show. So stay tuned for that. Salute to Dangerfield, my dog, man. Welcome to all the new members and the best Raiders YouTube host and channels. I appreciate you, my brother. Salute to you, man. Salute to my guy, Dangerfield. And once again, a bunch of people were asking me about the mental health shows and stuff like that. We can definitely go over that stuff with the members only shows and definitely talk about it. So anything you guys want to speak about, I'm all ears. We talked about the Zamir White situation. I wanted to go over this real quick before we get out of here. Oh, also, this is what I wanted to mention. Once again, the Sincere McCormick talk. Hondo had to say this about him. And once again, I've reached out to several people that are out there in Las Vegas, and they said the same thing. They definitely echoed the same sentiment about Sincere McCormick. This is what Hondo had to say about Sincere at OTAs and mandatory minicamp. He said, I was asked the other day on a national show, and somebody said, who do you think was the offensive MVP for the Raiders this offseason? No pads, but I've never seen Sincere McCormick run the way he ran. If you go back and watch last year's podcast before training camp and after training camp, I said that I believed in him, but he had to do more. I saw it in OTA minicamp, running mad at the world. So that was the exact words that he used in regards to Sincere McCormick. This is a guy last year that I believe had 4.7 yards per carry last season. So, you know, I'm excited to see what Sincere can do. Once again, I'm not expecting a massive jump in production because we did just draft Ashton Jeanty. We did bring in Raheem Mostert, but you love to see Sincere out there running like a madman. I think he's feeling the pressure. Dylan is there. Zamir is there. You know, you just draft Ashton Jeanty. You're just trying to find a spot on the roster at this point. You bring in the likes of a Raheem Mostert, a guy that is a veteran, former Pro Bowl guy that 2 years ago had 20 touchdowns, 18 on the ground. There's going to be a ton of pressure. I definitely believe that these guys are feeling the heat. There's a reason Zamir White lost some weight and is getting it together out there. There's a reason why Sincere is running like a madman right now. And there's a reason why a lot of people are questioning Dylan Laube and where he fits in the grand scheme of things with this roster as well. So you love to hear it, man. You guys know how I feel about Sincere McCormick. I've been a major advocate for him since we brought him in as a UDFA out of Texas San Antonio. I'm excited to see what he can do here with Jeanty, with Raheem Mostert, a guy that can come in and take a little bit of pressure off the number one and number two guy in Sincere McCormick. So you love to see it. And also, I wanted to talk about this. You know what? I may save this. I'm going to save this for the members only show. I want to talk a little bit about Tyree Wilson as well. Indiana says Sincere is dope. All in on our guy making it on the team. I mean, he's definitely going to make this roster. He's a former top 10 guy, you know, that last year we started to see what he can truly be. You know, did he leave a lot to be desired last season and the year prior? Yes. But last year you started to see the wheels turn a little bit. He was really good against the run. We need him to definitely get better in terms of getting to the quarterback. You don't draft a guy in the top 10 as an edge rusher that can at least give you 10 sacks a season. So we need Tyree Wilson to get up to that point where he can put up double digits in that category of getting to the quarterback. We need that. We need that. So, you know, we shall see. We'll talk a little bit more about him as well. Once again, let me get out of here, you guys. Members only show. Once again, I said this was going to be a 40-minute show. Pull up if you guys want to become a member. Come kick it with me. Quick 30-minute Q&A. We'll be doing this every week for all the members. This is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And moving forward with the members only shows as well, I think what we're going to do is tier 3 If you guys are tier 3 members, we can bring you on the screen. We can talk a little bit during some of these members only shows. So stay tuned. But other than that, man, as always, love, appreciate you guys. All the members, pull up. If you're a non-member, hit the link is pinned up top. If you're just watching this afterwards and want to join, hit the join button on the main page on YouTube and come kick it with us for a minute. Salute, as always. Love, appreciate you guys. I'm out. One.